Welcome back, everybody, to Razzpuytin Gaming Presents. This is our ongoing Platinum Trophy playthrough for Dying Light 2, Stay Human. So today we're doing something a little different. We're going to go through tips, tricks, and things that the game doesn't tell you. So I have 8 of those items for you today, and we will cover them. With that being said, let's just jump right into it. So the first thing, if you haven't noticed, is time in the game. So every minute in the game is a second in real time. So you can use this to plan your nighttime activities and know when you're going to be close to getting to daytime or vice versa. And also, if you're waiting for like nighttime to approach from daytime, so you can get to that GRE anomaly place, and it's showing that you have 2 hours, you know that that's really 2 minutes of real time that you have to wait. So go make yourself a sandwich, a snack, have a beer, come back and jump back into it, and you'll be right where you want to be with time in the game. All right, so number 2, along the same theme of night into day and day into night. If you are paying attention, there is audio clues as well. You hear whistling going off when it gets to that last half hour in game time before nighttime's coming to a close or before nighttime approaches. That's your audio clue, the clues you can hear anyways, that let you know that either you're coming to the end of your nighttime adventures if you're trying to get some stuff done, or your nighttime adventures can start to begin. So again, like the timing, you want to pay attention to the sounds as well as the visual cues. And remember that nighttime doesn't actually start and doesn't actually stop until your immunity timer either comes on or turns off. So at dusk and dawn, those times don't count. So if you jump into a GRE anomaly or a GRE quarantine zone, you're going to have virals there waiting for you. So just so that you're ready. Not that you don't necessarily want to get busy with them, but this way at least you'll be prepared for what is coming your way. All right, number 3 out of our 8 is when you are in the GRE quarantine zones, the way to find all 4 of the inhibitors in the quarantine zone is to follow the yellow cable. So when you come in at the top, you'll see a yellow cable dropping down into the first set of stairs, and you follow it down. And if you follow it around, it'll pass close to where the box is inside the locked room with your inhibitor. Now, it may not be as straightforward as following the cable to find the entrance, because sometimes it's on the opposite side, but you'll get oriented to where you need to go, and it will guide you to the inhibitor. The other thing to know about GRE anomalies or safe zones, quarantine zones, safe zones. They're not safe by any stretch. They're quarantine zones. Is that until you get to the very latest levels in the quarantine zone, you're going to have the first 2 inhibitors on your first level or your first 2 levels. And then you're going to have to drop through an elevator. Every one of the quarantine zones has an elevator traverse that you have to do. You have to drop down, go to the next level. And the last 2 inhibitors will always be together in the last room you need to go to. And that's usually down in a pit with a bunch of biters or spitters, the walking guys that are paying attention to you, or big goons, or any number of zombies, just to make things difficult for you at the end. A lot of those you can jump from, you can stay up a level by jumping across the facilities in the area and then dropping down right in front of the blue lock doors. So remember, the blue doors, by the way, are the ones that you can lockpick. The red doors are not. And then usually real close to those, you'll find a set of double doors that are blue outlined, and those will take you out at ground level of the GRE quarantine zone. And that's a quick way to get out. It's also a good place. And here's a little bonus for you. Outside those double doors, there's usually a howler. So if you keep him alive and just keep aggroing him, you can get a bunch of infected to come, and you can just grind them, farm them for their emblems so that you can upgrade your crafting gear. Then it's simple. All you do is just step back into the quarantine zone, into the UV area where you're safe, and the chase will fall off. It's also a way you can get the trophy for evading a level 4 chase. You just let it grind up. You stand right there, you beat down the infected, you're doing your thing, and when it gets to level 4, you just step back into the UV zone and it's over. So that's another way that you can deal with that. Item number 4, and we've already given you a couple of bonus items here in the middle, is when you're doing aerial traverses, whether zipline or paragliders, it never tells you, but if you hit the circle button, you will drop off your whatever you're traversing with, either the zipline or the paraglider. So if you think you're going to, that's especially useful on the paraglider, because if you think you're going to miss your target and you're landing slightly above it or you're coming right at it, just hit that circle button and boom, you'll land right where you need to land. So you don't have to fly your paraglider until you completely run out of stamina. That's not how it works. So I hope that one works for you and helps you, especially with the airdrops and some other things of where you're trying to get when you're flying around on your paraglider. The next one, item number 5. So this is one you have to be careful about. If you come to a nighttime event thing, like the Forsaken areas, one of those dark hollow stores that you want to raid, if you come to it in the daytime or before nighttime has triggered and you step inside or you crouch down to enter, even if you don't get all the way in and you see all the infected in there, when it turns to night, they will still be there. They are not going anywhere. Once you get them to spawn, they are there. You have to go far enough out of range of that particular area to get them to despawn. So if you're going to get busy with a nighttime event in those areas, dark hollow stores or things like that, you want to make sure that you do not trigger during the daytime and get all the infected. That's going to make your nighttime event all that much harder to deal with. So it's real important that you are careful about that. Unless you're a glutton for punishment, just want to go in and have to beat down on a bunch of infected while you try and loot a store at nighttime. So that's number 5. Number 6, you'll notice in the combat tree, one of the skills you can learn is a knife takedown. So when you're doing the regular takedown, you come up behind a zombie, an infected, you hit him with the square when it says you have the chance. It takes a little while for you to choke him out or smack him against the wall. If you have that skill, you'll see it can tell you to hit the L2, the left trigger button, and that you'll whip out a knife and you'll insta-kill him. That's all fine and dandy, but my advice, don't do that, because what you're actually doing is you're using up your crafting materials, the blade crafting materials that you may need to upgrade your melee weapons with. And then when you want to go and upgrade them or upgrade them with a grip mod or something like that that requires blades, you're not going to be able to do it because you won't have any of them. There's no reason not to just take the infected down with the basic takedown maneuver, regardless of how long it takes. Generally, it won't spawn any of the other guys, any of the other infected in your area. Yeah, so you definitely want to be careful, excuse me, there with your crafting materials, especially if you're doing a lot of melee kills. As you see that I do a lot, I spend a lot of time running along the ground and stuff like that, quickly getting to where I'm going, because we have a lot of collectibles to gather, the graffitis and the tapes and all the rest of that stuff. And for me, mostly, especially when you get into the second zone, it's just more expeditious to be running along the ground. Even at night, sometimes you'll see me running through and I'll spark 3 or 4 howlers and then I'll jump into a UV safe zone. But I prefer to save the blades for the melee weapon upgrades rather than use them for the takedowns because there's really no benefit. The speed doesn't really help you any in the kills, so I wouldn't sweat that too much either. For item number 7. So this is one that'll be super helpful for you. I believe once I figured it out, it was really, really helpful for me in getting around the map. And that's the fast travel can happen from anywhere to a metro station. You do not have to be in a metro station to fast travel. You can do it from anywhere in the map. And if you're not being interrupted, like during combat or something, if you're being chased and you can find a spot to pause long enough to get the fast travel with that square button, get the fast travel to trigger, you can do it even though you've aggroed the world. It doesn't matter. You can use fast travel when you're falling or paragliding, just as the same. So if things aren't going your way and you want to fast travel to get out of trouble, you can certainly do that. Besides just fast traveling for the story, which you're going to do a few times anyways. And additionally, I mean, there's a trophy associated with unlocking all the metro stations, so you might as well get after it, just like I did fairly early when I got to the secondary, the central hub. When we were running around grabbing the graffiti, we were marking and grabbing the metro stations, which are a nighttime event, by the way. And there's a couple of tricky ones which require you to travel down the elevator wells and into the bottom areas and do a bunch of parkour stuff. Those ones are a little bit trickier. And for a couple of them, they just have the rebels there, the human enemies. Those ones are easy peasy to get to. You just have to get to the switch and turn it on, and then you'll convert the whole zone. But remember, so the metro stations, once you trigger them, they're like the bandit camps. Once you trigger them or turn them over or convert them, whatever you want to call it, all the extra loot is locked away from you. You can't get it anymore. Other than inhibitors or whatever's in that one box if you've already looted the inhibitors before. So that'll be the case as well. Number 8, and this is associated with number 6, it's about fast travel. If you're fast traveling around the map, time does not advance. So if it gets to be nighttime and you find yourself on the wrong side of the map and you're trying to get to that GRE anomaly zone that you need or the GRE quarantine spot, fast travel to the closest metro station. Time will not advance while you're fast traveling, and that'll save you the time it takes to run across the district or the zone or wherever you may be. So that's a key in helping you preserve daytime if you need it or preserve nighttime if you need it even. It could be if you're on a quest or something that you want to save the time and not have it advance too fast for you. So the way to help save time is to fast travel. So that's it for our 8 items. I gave you a couple bonus items in the middle of this. So hopefully these tips, tricks, and things that the game doesn't tell you will help you with your playthrough as well and help you on your road to the Platinum Trophy. Don't forget to friend and follow us on Twitch. If you're on YouTube, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Much appreciated if you guys would subscribe so I can keep bringing you this content. Really appreciate you guys coming along, trying to get to 250 subscribers at the moment. And we will catch you next time. You guys be safe out there.